Hey everybody, I wanted to get some footage from actually the actual Grand Theft Auto game, but when I tried to re-download it, it was just like almost 200 gigs, and I'm just like, oh, forget this, man. Not only it's gonna take forever, you're gonna eat all my hair drive. It's just like one game that's basically been around for like over a decade that people can't stop talking about. One of the reasons why I can't release my game, at least initially, like if they push it back again, most likely I will release my game, but it's a type of game that's it's weird. It's like we all wanted it to not be the only game of its kind. So let me give you like a little reason as to why I'm a game developer. So initially I was just like bullshitting my way through, like I'm just gonna play video games and I'll, I don't know, mod it, mod scene or whatever, and then like it's just like to make the game that I want to play. And I was always like used to doing that. Like I'll play Star Wars Jedi Outcast 2, so the one made by Ravensoft, with like the crazy ass Jedi lightsaber battles. And at least in that game, like you can just change your character. You can like spawn characters. It's like I actually played through the game before I even played the game. Like I played by like spawning in the different enemy types to see how their AI was. It was just like it was the best. And then like modding in different kinds of enemies. Skids, all that stuff. I even made some of my own. As in like I took the stuff that's in the game and I made that like my own character. Yeah, I like modding, but you know, I got I pre-ordered Cyberpunk 2077 mostly because of Keanu Reeves, but like I was faithful that it was going to dethrone Grand Theft Auto 5, which was like I think it came out with the PS4 version, if I'm not mistaken. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like the antiquated godfather of all, car stealing open world games, where you had like maybe Saints Row as like the wannabe um, sidekick or whatever, and then like all subsequently had other games like you had like Red Faction Guerrilla of all things to like take inspiration from. It'd be Grand Theft Auto, but like, wow, what a legacy that game has left, and like, what has it done to society as a result? Well, if you turn on the news, you'll see like a lot of heists, a lot of crime, a lot of things that are taking place that you could swear, well, didn't they release like a multiplayer map with that? Didn't they like, include that in like, this like new season or something like that? And it's just like the parallels. For me, it was the heist missions in the base game. I recognize those because I didn't really play the multiplayer all that much. I know of the multiplayer, and my friends were trying to introduce me to it. It's just like, holy shit, it's way too complicated for me to actually like it. So it's just, I put down like an excuse for people to go out there and buy, their PlayStation Plus subscriptions so they can Grand Theft Auto role play and shit. And now we're beginning to see like why it's so popular, so successful, because people can't put this shit down. They're just, heavily invested in their, you know, Grand Theft Auto. And it's like, when they delayed the games, people were like, contemplating suicide. People were talking about, oh, it's going to be the best thing ever. And I could give less of a shit because, you know, when I got Grand Theft Auto 5, I thought that this was it. They're going to finally make San Andreas with like, better graphics and shit. Not only was I resoundingly wrong, but like, it took them 3 console generations just to get the explosions right. So they were fine in Grand Theft Auto 4. They looked amazing, actually. And then when you play Grand Theft Auto 5 on PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4, the explosions are just so garbage. You're just like, what the fuck is this? Like, why would you like make the game so graphically, whatever, right? And then like skip out on one of the more important aspects, like you maybe like if you play the game normally, you don't see explosions that often, but like to make it so anticlimactic. Like the explosions of other things, like rocket launchers, this and that, they're fine. I think. No, I think they add like a blur filter, so like they take away like the explosion effects from 4, and then they just throw in a blur filter, and they like expect you to think that, oh, the explosion happened, and like the whole screen is shaking, color changes, and all that shit. It was cheap, but that wasn't just the beginning of my problems with the game. Like for a Grand Theft Auto game, this game was like up there with like maybe Grand Theft Auto 3 and the portable Grand Theft Autos. I actually haven't played them, so I don't know how much depth they have. But like, if you were expecting a game with the depth of San Andreas or even Vice City, I don't know what to tell you. Oh, by the way, I've been addicted to this game like nonstop and playing it, but I had to get back into Arc Raiders for the next footage that I'm gonna show you. But yeah, like it is a very it's not like it has no end game to it, Grand Theft Auto 5. It just has this expectation that you're going to pick up the multiplayer and start playing it. And like, to be honest, for its time, like on the PlayStation 3, it was worth the money because it was just like, okay, well, you're not paying for, any online subscription service, and you might as well, like, if you have nothing else better to do, you have an internet connection. Oh, check this out. Two people killed each other, or one of them got killed by like a robot, and then like they got some language going on here. Oh, I love the internet. But what was I saying again? So like the single player for Grand Theft Auto 5, while the single player storyline was pretty decent and had multiple branching paths, and you can choose who lives or who dies at the end of it. Um, it was just over like way too fast for like a game of its caliber, right? And then you were sitting down and like probably much like myself, you probably sat through like probably what was it, like a half an hour long credit cutscene. Look at all these names associated with this game, and then the game ends, and then like you go into New Game Plus or like whatever, the game's over, and it's just like, yeah, you have some missions here and there, but it's not like anything out of the ordinary, and they never really followed it up with anything. They just expected you to like spend money in the online store and buy shark cards and just like make, Rockstar Take Two Entertainment billions of dollars, billions, so they can design your next prison. But this prison comes with like, its own prison guards. That's right. Sony has its prison guards. Probably Microsoft and Steam. Well, I don't think they're gonna get a console release. And they're whispering about Nintendo Switch. I highly doubt that though. Like most likely the Switch port will be like way down the road, like way 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 down the road, but like nowhere near what we have like right now. But what was I saying? The Switch port is like most likely the reason why it got delayed it to begin with, because most likely Take Two was just like rubbing its hands together and it's like, okay, look, there are people who exclusively play on the Switch 2, right? Or the Switch, right? Whatever. And they're like, on the go gamers and shit, and they'll just charge their devices and they'll buy shit on their online stores and like, give us more money. Like why wouldn't we want that? So the game got delayed and everyone was just like wondering what the fuck, right? Like is it really taking that long to fix this game, to finish this game? And it's like, well, apparently, like, they just want all that money, right? But, like, you see, the thing with Nintendo and, like, companies like it is that they want an unnecessary and unreasonable amount of control on their products to ensure family quality, safety precautions, all that shit. And then like there's this new news that Sony's coming out with this like facial ID recognition for like whatever. And it was just wow, man. And like they're trying to roll it out in Europe, and they're most likely gonna roll out everywhere because of Grand Theft Auto 6 and what it has done to society, how people copy it, they commit crimes thinking that they're living in a video game, they divorce themselves from reality. And I'm one of those cranky old men that says, look, if this is how people are going to be, why not just like cancel Grand Theft Auto 6? Just like fuck it. Like who cares about it? Like What is the significance difference between other than the graphics, right? And then like the whatever. It's like it's on another console. It's just like the newer one. Like, what is the point of getting Grand Theft Auto 6 over Grand Theft Auto 5 when everybody knows it's gonna be more of the same? Like, here's what I speculate, right? Most likely, it's gonna have um, the same type of single player, if not shorter. And the reason why I think it's going to be shorter is that it's going to have all the motion capture, it's going to have all the voice acting that like these Rockstar games have, right? But here's the difference: you're using more like heavily detailed textures, models, all that shit, and to like project that into a single player, like it'll be lucky if this game is as long as Grand Theft Auto 5. Most likely it's going to be Grand Theft Auto 4 or 5 lengths, but more like concise, more short, maybe no branching story paths, because like nobody really wants to see like a happy couple fight with each other and break up and divorce, or maybe that's like a choice or some shit like that. But they're just gonna keep pushing people towards the multiplayer, and that's why I see this as like they're trying to get the Switch port, working if it can work, and they're trying to fix this multiplayer because that's why they want the facial recognition. That's why they want the IDs, driver's license, all this information from its users because they don't want kids playing this game. They definitely don't want kids playing this game. It's one of those games that I think, theorizing this, is going to be one of those games that you buy it and then you have to scroll through. As most people, they just like skip through it and they don't read the end user license agreement. So they'll just be like, okay, whatever. As long as I don't like steal or hack in the game, like they're not going to take it away from me. Oh, but if you commit crime, like as depicted in Grand Theft Auto 6, copyright Take-Two Rockstar Entertainment. We reserve the right to revoke your digital license, your private property license, all that shit. Like, what? What do you mean you revoke my license? I bought this game. How are you telling me that I'm gonna lose this game if I commit crimes now? If I'm like, stealing cars? If I'm like doing heists? I got like a trap house. I'm trying to like, push some shit. Oh shit, man. We're barreling towards a future where, and I'm 50-50 about this because at one point, they were kind of right. The immature level of like people, especially when it comes to playing this game, is just going to result in copycat crimes. Just heist mission level 2, 3. The B path. They're like using more complicated means. Maybe they use a drone to like steal jewelry or some shit like that, so they don't trigger the lasers or like heat sensors or some shit like that. I don't know. It's like the future of like video games, and like they give people ideas of how to steal shit from like stores and stuff. Like, think about it though. Like, wouldn't that be hilarious? Because in San Andreas you had this one mission where you're like taking these remote control planes and you're just like flying them and shit. And for that time, it seemed like futuristic, but like far fetched and shit, right? Like oh, you can't have planes with battery life like that and can go like that and record and all that shit. That's just that's not feasible, right? We don't have the battery power for it. And now it's just like, look at these. I'm shooting at like tiny ass drones with machine guns, fearing for my life, man. What do you mean they don't have the battery power? Get fucking, they kill you, man. The drones, dude. Like, and that's just like one aspect. What happens if like you get like people who do like the crazier shit, like drive trucks through stores and stuff? That's very common now. So like, most likely you got to see these people, and then like, like it's gonna be one or the other. One is that they're perma-banned, and like no matter how hard they try, they can't play the game again because it requires like like your actual ID identification, and you're just screwed out of the game. So it's just like people are forced not to commit crimes if they want to play Grand Theft Auto 6 because it's supposedly that good of a game. Or this is like what I'm thinking. I call this one the LTG method, low tier god method. See, instead of just getting your ass banned, you just buy up a next console, and get your covenant, foot the bill. Oh shit, man! I'm telling you, dude, it's coming because it's like people are just so hyped about that game that I don't know, like I don't think it's gonna be as good as people think it is. Like it's gonna be like a 9 out of 10, maybe 9.5, but like it's just going to be another Grand Theft Auto game, and for everything that it does right, like oh look at these graphics, look at this, seamless, ability to like enter into vehicles, like you can run and then your character like can just jump into a vehicle that like your wife or your partner's driving and shit, and it's just like drive away super fast, and it's like part of the game or some shit like that, and like for everything that it does, it's just like but yeah, it doesn't have like the craziness that what do you call it? San Andreas had. Like San Andreas was a game that really went out there and just demonstrated how creative you can get with making these video games. So you can go inside of malls, you can own properties, you can date people, you can work out at the gym. I think you see him depicting him working out and shit. So it's just like maybe that they put it back in the game, but it's just like why would you not include it in Grand Theft Auto 5? It just baffles the mind that like you're basically all the only customization you can get on your characters is just appearance wise. It's like okay, I want Trevor to have a mullet. I want um, Franklin, Michael to have fucking I can't believe I got mixed up. God damn, the game is so long ago, and here I am scavenging for this one gear. But don't worry, you'll see what happens afterwards as I get surrounded by the robots. And it's not like I'm trying to be a hater or anything. I'm just remembering like way back in the day when I first got San Andreas, it was something special. Like from the second you leave San Andreas and to get into like that forest area, and then finally like the Las Vegas area, dude. Because it's just like yeah, PS3 can't handle it. But even though like you're just like appreciating the scope of it all, like the Las Vegas scenery, the airport, the city, it's just so much, right? And that's just like one of the cities. There's like three cities. You have Los Santos, you have the other like metropolitan city, and then you have Las Vegas and the surrounding desert around it. Like the map was huge. It was obscene how big it was actually, but it was never copied or like whatever since. And you can argue, many do, that Grand Theft Auto 5's map is kind of like San Andreas, has aspects from it, but to me, it's just you know what I mean. It's just like a soulless copy, and even then, like it's just even though it has its own character with Franklin and his house and his area and shit like that, like I wanted more out of Trevor. I just wanted more out of the game. Like it just seemed to me like a game that was going to be make your own game, like you know what I mean. Like Grand Theft Auto is good at storytelling and good at like engaging its player base, but I see it as okay, well, you pretty much told the crime stories and like ripped off or like with what do you call that again, artistic inspiration, like all these other crime movies, this that, The Godfather, Scarface, right? And then like Friday, you can argue San Andreas was Friday. Um, I don't see like and like you could argue that Grand Theft Auto 5 was like Heat and all these other heist movies, and like whatever. It wasn't really a buddy cop movie because even though you had like those dirty cops that you're working for, oh yo, check this out. See, people are talking about like Arc Raiders having like a bad community, or like having whatever hackers. I just went online today to see. I've never seen any hackers for me personally, but then again, I don't really shoot at people, so I'm whatever, playing in the Kitty Zone, the Care Bear servers. But other than that, fuck, what was I gonna say again? Grand Theft Auto 5 is just going to be one of those games where I think people have to taper their expectations because it's a game made by adults for the sole purpose of taking money from, you know, I wouldn't say dumb people. I just say people who, they can't critically think. I'm not saying like Grand Theft Auto isn't a game that you should play. It's a game that maybe for the first time in like gaming history or whatever, instead of like having gigantic ass lineups or pre-orders or this or that, just wait, let the game come out, see what everybody else says about it, and then like when you have the time, then go get it. Like what's stopping you? Just a bad feeling I got.